Hey guys, welcome to Watch Hobbyist channel. So today I have got my new Rolex GMT. It's the two-tone option. It's the 116713. Okay, so let's get into the review. So first things first, sizes. This is a 40mm diameter watch. Now quite often they don't look like they wear like a 40mm. It's because of the sort of thickness of the lugs going on here, that type of thing. But it is a 40mm watch. Height wise, not too bad. I think it's around about 12mm, something like that. So only pretty sort of average type of height. You know, nothing particularly untoward. It's not thick. It will quite easily go under a shirt cuff, all that type of thing. So you're going to be fine if you wear this to sort of business type attire, meetings, you know, that sort of thing. The watch is 100 meters water resistant. It has the 3187 caliber Rolex movement inside it. Now that movement these days, like most Rolex movements, if not all of them, I could be wrong there, basically has -2 +2 accuracy. So we know that you're getting a nice accurate watch if you're buying a Rolex these days, but you just have to check that you've got the latest green tag with it, which is what signifies that. So I'm sure at some point I'll show you that. The watch has a GMT movement, so it has a true GMT movement. Now there are a lot of watches out there that portray themselves as a GMT watch, but actually they're not. They're more like a dual time zone watch. So you see this green hand here that's pointing towards the 6 o'clock marker or the 12 on the bezel. That there is your 24-hour hand on this watch. Now on other watches it is also a 24-hour hand, but when you go to like the first position of the crown to set the watch, you'll end up moving that hand. Now on this watch instead you actually move the hour hand, which is currently in between 11 and 12 or around the 23 point on the bezel. That is your main time hour hand. That's the Mercedes hand as it's known, and basically that hand is what moves when you set this. So you jump on a plane and you're going to a destination 5 hours behind. This green hand here stays in the position on the bezel that you know what time it is back home, but also this main hour hand moves to, you know, the new time zone that you jump into. So if it's 5 hours behind, you would now go back to sort of whatever that is, 6-ish, 7-ish, something like that. I'm too tired today to even work out the time, but basically the watch will then give you the time zone at home and the local time. The bezel can then be turned. Now it's a fantastic bezel on the GMT because it goes in half-hour increments, and it has like a ceramic ball bearing system underneath it, so it goes into a click and stops. There's no sort of movement here or there. It's solid as anything, and it has a really nice sort of action and feel to it. It's something that's really well damped. It works really, really well. They did a great job with that, and it's the first thing that made me look into a Rolex. Was many years ago I was actually having a look at the 116710, so I think it was about 2007, and I knew from that point I wanted a Rolex because I'd never felt anything such good quality in a watch. At that point I was still into all my Casios and stuff, but I knew from that point that's it, I've got to get one of these. And that's what got me into premium watches. So, you know, that's the GMT that did that. So this watch, I'll give you a bit of a background as to why I bought it. So I've had steel watches for a long time, and I like them. I love my steel sports watches, but I started to want something that's bit more dressy, shall we say. So for example, recently I went to a birthday dinner. It was my birthday. We went to dinner. It was nothing too posh, nothing too exciting, but I'm looking through my watches and I'm thinking, oh, I've only got this, I've got that, and they're all incredible watches, but nothing is going to work for me tonight in terms of dressy scenario. And I was getting quite dressed up, so you know I wanted a watch that would match it. Now that's a real first world problem, of course it is, I totally understand that, but still I wanted to sort of match the rest of my attire with my watch. Instead I ended up taking my Rolex Submariner, which is, I absolutely love it. It's the older type one, the LV, and of course it's one of my favourite watches, if not my favourite watch of all time. It means a lot to me, mine as well, it's very sentimental, but it just didn't seem like it fit in totally with that scenario. So I started thinking I want something dressy. Now, dressy to me means shiny or gold or something along those lines. And I've had a full solid gold watch in the past, and it just didn't work for me. As much as I wanted it to, and as much as I loved the aspects of it, and in the house I could wear it all the time and just absolutely adore wearing it. But as soon as I set foot outside of the house, I felt it was ostentatious, I felt very self-aware, very self-conscious, and for me, I don't know, I sold it within not a quick amount of time, but a reasonable amount of time, because I never felt comfortable with it, and I wanted to. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that wear gold watches day in, day out, and they don't give a damn, and that's great if you can be like that. But at the same time, I don't live in some really, really nice location. If I lived in somewhere like Monaco, you know, or something like that, it totally fits in. But it just didn't really fit into my life particularly. And I felt a bit insecure wearing it because of the safety aspect, of the fact that it's just drawing attention to you so much. Now, I'm not at all saying that this won't draw attention. Of course it will, but just not, in my head anyway, not quite the same as a full gold watch. A bit like having a beautiful Maserati doesn't attract in the same way like a Lamborghini Murcielago would. You know, it's just, there's just a difference, but they're still both very, very nice things. So this watch, you know, is what I came to the conclusion would be perfect for me. I didn't want a steel one because I didn't feel it would be dressy enough. Also, I've had the GMTs in steel, I've had the BLNR, I've had the standard model, and as much as they're great watches, because I've had the standard model before, it didn't appeal, and because I've had the BLNR, I knew that there was one aspect I really didn't like about the BLNR, which made me sell it in the end, and that was actually that this, what you see here with this green hand, the 24-hour hand, just for me, I could never see it. I think it's because we have like a very dull climate here in England. We don't have sunshine all the time, and on a sunny day I could see it very well. And don't get me wrong, I probably only need to use it when I'm in a sunny climate, probably travelling or something like that. But it just never actually worked for me. So this watch takes it to a whole new level. First of all, I absolutely love the looks of it, and when it's on my wrist, I'll do a wrist shot in a minute, but when it's on my wrist, I think it oozes just a character, and I really enjoy the look of it, the aesthetic of it. The other thing as well is reading the time is much simpler on this compared to the steel models, because you actually have gold hands, and the gold hands really stand out against the black dial more than the steel hands do. Now, I am not at all saying that this watch is for everybody. If I'm honest, up to 6 months or 12 months maybe ago, I would have totally walked past this in a shop, even if it was a big discount. But what really made me attracted to it is the usual thing. You've not come across something before, and then suddenly one gets sort of shoved in your hands, and you can appreciate it close up, unlike how you can appreciate it in a shop window or that type of thing. And that's what happened. So basically my friend, he decided he wanted one of these. He was really, really like hot for one of these. He wanted one, and at the time I was able to sort of help him source one. It's not at all what I do, it's just that I knew a way of getting one a bit cheaper through the good currency conversions and things like that in Europe at the time. So he bought one, and so my other friend was going to this place. He brings the watch back, I meet him, the watch is in my possession for a couple of days until I can meet the guy that's I've got the watch for, and basically I had a chance to just pop it on my wrist just for a couple of minutes, just have a look at it, and it was absolutely love at first sight. I didn't expect to like it. I expected to think, oh my god, this is awful, but no, I totally loved it. And even now, if I see them in the shops, they don't look anything special, but as soon as you put it on the wrist, that's when I think it sort of really comes alive. And when you think about it, you know, you've got this really versatile watch. It's got a nice bit of sort of bling to it in a little way, but in a nice dressy manner. It's got functionality in terms of its GMT movement. It's fantastic bezel, which just feels indestructible. It's ceramic as well, of course, and what you see around the ceramic is all gold filled, but that can actually scratch and wear off a little bit. So you'll see some of those. If you look for a used one, you'll sometimes see they've got little odd marks, especially at the arrow, because that's quite a large area, and if something scratches it, it can show. But you know, overall, this is a very tough but very dressy and very smart looking watch, and compared to the steel models, it just appeals to me more. Now, Basel's due, and if they release a steel version that's like the Coke bezel or something like that, then that would probably appeal as well. But I don't think it would appeal to me personally at this stage as much as this one, because I think the gold is what I wanted, but I didn't want a full gold watch and I didn't want a steel watch, so I've got the best of both, and I really do like the colour scheme that's going on and just everything about the watch. You've also got, of course, the Easy Link clasp, so I don't know if this will show. I'm sorry, I'm using, see all my fingerprints on the clasp there. I'm using a new camera and it's a little bit awkward, to be honest, but so basically you have the Easy Link there, so you can see where my thumbs are. In between we have a little clasp, and if I just pull on the bracelet, click, and now we have an extra 5mm or so of extension. So it's just nice and wearable. It just means on a hot day, you know, you're just going to basically be able to extend the clasp. Obviously it's not designed for diving or anything. This watch is 100 meters water resistant, not 200 plus or whatever, but it just means you've got a bit more leeway, and it's nice. And also, obviously, if you've got it large and then you need to contract the bracelet a little bit because it's colder, again, you just go the other way, you just flick it back in, and it's a 2-second process. It can be done while it's on the wrist, and I just think it works really, really well. The luminescence you've got on here is the proper chromolite blue cast to it, so it has like a sort of turquoisey blue look, and I was actually quite surprised last night when I went out. Well, I went to the gym actually, and then when I came back, the lights had really sort of lit up the loom, and then we turned the lights off to go to bed. I had the watch next to my bed, and I think I woke up about 3 in the morning. I could still see the time, no problem. So it is really, you know, it's really usable luminescence as well. No, it's not going to be like some Seiko crazy thing, one of the new tuners or what have you, but it's certainly usable and certainly good enough. And I think it really suits the whole appeal of the watch. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. I know I've not brought you a review for a while, but it does take an awful long time to create these reviews. I've been at this one for the best part of an hour and a half, and when I'm very, very busy, it does sometimes take a long time to create the reviews, and then I've also got to put it onto the computer, probably do some edits, which is why you'll occasionally see the second-hand jump. And it's only because I've actually had to cut the video because I've either made a mistake, or I've messed my words up, or I've just thought I'm going to bore people to death here, so I really need to just chop that. So, you know, the watches I review aren't fake. I do get comments saying, oh, it's fake because the second hand jumped and blah blah blah. It's not that, I promise you. So anyway, like I say, I hope you enjoyed the review, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really helps me, and the even better thing to do as well, give it a thumbs up. So if you like this video, I've put a lot of effort into it, hopefully it shows. So give me a thumbs up, and it just brings the videos up there. It helps me grow the channel. That's what I'm going to hopefully do this year. So if you can do that, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, have a great week, and I'll see you again soon.